Okay, hello everyone, and happy Thanksgiving. This is how I spent my Thanksgiving morning, putting together a tutorial for using Eagle 7.4, I guess point .0, and exporting an Excellon drill hole file for making through-hole printed circuit boards in a file format that can be interpreted correctly by Flatcam for making G-code for machining your printed circuit board. Flatcam 8.4. And the reason that that these aren't importing correctly, in a nutshell, is that the number of digits in the Excellon file isn't correct. So first, let's go into, this isn't, you don't need to do this, but just so that you know, up in Eagle, in the bin, there's a file called Eagle Def. I like using Notepad++ because it can interpret files pretty easily and just show them as text. And in here, if you go find Excellon, you can find the job description for your different Excellon presets. And in Excellon, there's the resolution X and Y, and those are set to 100,000 each right now, and that's fine. Some people believe that you need to reduce the resolution or something in order to get the file to export correctly, but that's not true. It's not about resolution, it's about digit matching. And I'll show you what that means in a sec here. This is a board that I made. And if I wanted to go to CAM processor, open job, and choose Excellon. Let's say I name this %n test.drd. Make sure it has holes and drills. I made it looking down, so this is the top, but I actually wanted this to be milled on the bottom so that I could put my components through the top and then solder on the bottom. So I chose mirror. You don't have to do that. And I read a tutorial that said you need to uncheck positive coordinate. I don't know why to do that either. I just don't. I just uncheck positive coordinate for that. Whatever. So process job. And let's go into Flatcam. I will... There. This is it. Alright, I'll open up my Gerbil file, the .cmp, and you can see it's mirrored from how it is in Eagle. And if I want to import now the Excellon that I just exported without changing any settings at all, it's going to be test here, .drd. And you can barely see it, but I'll zoom in here. The dots are flying way out in space. And they're like, over the entire screen, and my board is just down here. It's tiny. So if I go in here, some people say, oh, it's just a scaling issue. So you go in here and you click 0.1 because it's a times 10 scaling for some things, and I'll show you why. If you hit scale and it brings it down, you'll see that I have this dual inline package here at the top, and it kind of seems like these holes here should be over here, and so it's like the y-axis scaling was 1/10, but the z-axis wasn't. So if I hit scale again, I noticed, oh crap, look, these are totally off on y-axis, but it looks like they're on for z-axis. So it's like the z-axis was like 1/100th and the y-axis was 1/10. And so I want to show you how to manipulate your file manually in order to let it import correctly. So let's go into our file for our project and find your test.drd, the Excellon, and you'll notice that these have different numbers of digits in each one. And that's because Eagle uses a resolution, which means that, let's take down here, for example, these three. This is all exported in mils. I don't know why. Don't ask me. But right here on my Eagle board, I have these three holes, and these are the three only holes of this size that were exported, and that's why in this file there's TO3. TO3 is 0.04, which is the largest hole tool that I'm using. And so because there's only 3 points here, and it's the large hole, I figure that these 3 points, these XY coordinates, are for these three right here. Especially because they have the same X coordinate. Like, yeah, it makes sense. Those are the 3 holes, right? And you can see that the y-axis, there's 8, 9, 10. But Flatcam isn't going to interpret it like that. If we throw in the test again, and I bring it down by 0.1 twice, so I guess you could just type in 0.01, you'll see that these two holes line up perfectly. But this one's way down here. Well, if you zoom in, way in, and get the mouse pretty close to the middle, where's my... Oh my gosh, weird. There, okay. See it on here? It shows the XY coordinates right there as I move it around. If I get pretty close to the middle, you see the y-axis looks like it's right at about 2.54 millimeters. Well, that sounds really familiar. Almost sounds like 1 mil, which is 0.1 inch. And in here, oh, see, look. Flatcam is looking at this and saying, oh, okay, y-axis, 1.0053 mil. Well, that's obviously not what we want. So what we're going to do is we're going to give it leading zeros so that Flatcam has the same number of digits for each coordinate, x and y, so that it knows how to interpret the data. So here, the y-axis, the largest we've got, you know, all these that are hanging out there far right, have 6 digits in them. So none of these are going to go into Flatcam correctly because there's 6 digits on the y and there's only 5 on the x. So you have to go through, well, I'm going through and adding leading zeros wherever they're needed so that every x and y coordinate has 6 digits. And I'm just doing 0 left up, 0 left up so that I can quickly breeze through it. I'm sure someone clever could write a script or something to do this automatically, but just for the sake of the tutorial, as soon as I figured this out, I was like, yeah, people need to know. There. Oh, up here too. Okay, so now all of the values, all the XY coordinates have 6 digits in them. So if I now save this, go back, delete that, and open it up. I can scale that file down, and look. Everything lines up perfectly, and we just added zeros. We didn't actually reduce the resolution at all. So you don't need to reduce the resolution. You just need to give Flatcam the heads up that, you know, 10 is 10 and not 1. If there's a way to set up leading zeros in Eagle, I don't know. So there's, you know, probably someone out there that's like, oh, why don't you just do this and it'll fix the whole problem. Well, why don't you put that in the comments or make your own video, because I've only been using Eagle for a week. So I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any questions.